So,
Hello, this is the Historical Commission. It's March 10. For those of us that are here live, not on tape, it's 6:30. We're pleased to have you with us. And first thing we're going to do to get out of the way is the minutes. You all got them electronically. They are also in front of you. And I'm entertaining a motion.
Motion to accept the minutes?
Which one? We have two. Pick one.
Minutes of 2/11.
Okay. Do I have a second?
second.
All right, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. I'll entertain another motion. That works so well. What's the other one? There's another one.
1/14/2020.
All right. Do I have a second?
Yeah,
Good.
second.
It's about time. Any discussion?
Not by me, I wrote them.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, minutes are out of the way. Thank you. We're going to hold off on financial report, and because we have our visitors here and in their seats.
Yes.
Sometimes call that the peanut gallery. Are you old enough to remember what that was?
Yes.
That's always helpful.
Yeah.
I've had people just stare at me saying, what? We're pleased to have you, and what we're talking about here is 100 Mason Road. And you will tell us who you are and sign in on the
Sheet.
Okay.
sheet.
I'm Sandra Dusso.
Okay, louder for me.
Sandra Dusso,
Sandra Dusso.
yes,
And you're here why?
representing my mother and father, Denise and Paul Driscoll.
All right, good. And this is your
Husband,
backup?
yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, he might be better with the questions.
all right, it's okay.
So does it matter? Just sign in?
No, just as long as we know
Okay,
you're here.
okay.
I remember Tony. Tony used to drive the bus. I used to ride on one of Tony's buses for a while.
Was that my grandfather?
Yeah.
I never even got to meet him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he passed when he was
He
42. Yep,
Passed a long time
very
ago.
young, yes. Yep.
Well, okay, we done with old home?
Long day.
All right, let me tell you what's going to happen.
Okay,
I'm opening the meeting at, whatever,
6:36.
36. We're going to talk about the criteria for demolition. Our job is to determine whether the property has historic significance. Every demo in the town has to have a public hearing. So people are sometimes surprised that their shed is going to require that, but it's because sometimes a shed is more than a shed.
okay.
You know, it has some relationship to something else, and we have to make sure it doesn't, or that people just don't tear things down, which they want to do. So here we are, and the process is, we will go through and discuss the criteria and your property, and see if there's anything that we need to know about. Otherwise, if there isn't, we will declare it to be not significant.
Okay.
And then you will be able to proceed with the demo, at least from our standpoint.
Okay.
And let me start with, is it on the National Register? Oh, it's a question for you. You
No.
don't know.
Right.
And you wouldn't know.
It is.
It is not.
Okay.
Oh,
See, he
he's
knows more
cheating.
than me.
He's gonna get cheated. Does it have a historic importance? Anybody important live there? Any important dates there, other than family stuff?
Okay, nope.
We have no knowledge.
No knowledge.
No knowledge, we don't either.
Okay.
Architectural importance.
None that we know of.
It's tiny.
Yes.
Very tiny.
You have to wonder, back in the day, how many people lived in it at one time?
Well, probably 3
At least 3.
when my father was a baby, very
Well, they're
young.
downsizing. They don't even have to build. They can just go right back
Yes.
into it.
Tiny houses are back in.
I know.
Right?
And you're gonna remove it. yeah.
Sometimes I think the older you get, the more space you need, right?
Right now, you need more space. Trust me. So we don't think it has any architectural importance. The designer wasn't a well-known person. The other thing is geographical importance. Is it in such a place that it's iconic, that people say, oh, I go by that every day. That house, I guarantee you, most people don't know it's there.
I agree.
Because, I said, oh, we have a demo coming on Mason Road, and they go, where? And I try to explain, no, there's no house there. I said, well, there won't be, so
Right.
Yes.
it'll be right. So those are the things we look for.
Okay.
And I've looked at it close up. I don't see anything, there was nothing in our files to indicate, that we would have an issue with it.
Okay.
So what is the plan?
He's gonna tear this structure down, and then from there, he's gonna look at building a single-family home
Retirement?
for himself.
Oh,
Yes.
Same footprint?
Excuse me?
No.
Same footprint?
No.
No.
Going back?
Oh, in the back. okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be set further back off the road.
Yeah, that one's a little up close.
You're right.
A little
Back in
personal.
the day, it was good, but
Right.
But I guess he touches way back, so he's gonna set it back just a little bit. He's not going too
Yeah.
far back, just enough, a little bit more comfortable.
yeah, gotta get a little distant. The final nest, we would call this.
Yes.
right? And they're in Panama now?
Yes.
Are they going through the canal
Tomorrow, they're going through the canal
just for a day trip or on a cruise?
on a cruise. They've been on the cruise for
All
a
right.
week and a half.
All right, so this is the full-fledged cruise?
Right.
Yeah. Princess?
I'm not sure, I forget which cruise line it is, but my mother did text us the other day saying that when they got to Panama, they had 35 people come in on the ship to test it to make sure, for the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And they checked everybody's temperature before they were even allowed to exit the ship today. That's the
Yeah.
first time they ran into any, problems or concerns or anything. But she said everybody was virus-free, so it was a good day.
Right?
Crossing our
Yes,
fingers.
I know.
Where does it land when it comes back? Florida?
Florida, yep. They-
Slaughterdale is.
Yeah. I know, they started out in LA, so they came across this way, through
Yeah.
Mexico, Nicaragua.
Yeah, I've done the trip, it's very nice.
Yep,
When things aren't this
I know.
tenuous.
Right.
I know.
But I know they were pretty committed and,
Yes, I know. It's like, you
If
still
you-
gotta live your life, right?
yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
But one exciting thing, when they were in Nicaragua, did anybody watch that volcano? That man who
One of
was
the flying
tight-
Melindas?
Yeah, walking over the tightrope over the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
volcano.
Oh, yeah.
They were dismantling the tightrope, for that they used to go across when my parents were there.
Oh,
So-
And then,
Oh, my
when they
mo-
were taking it down, they had paramedics for the crew that were taking it down. Her mother fell. So the paramedics
She
took
fell in a
look at her
lava
mom.
rock.
Ooh,
She said,
pretty
oh,
personal.
she's fine, she said,
Oh,
but
okay.
she said she had all kinds of attention, all the physicians came over, the medics, everything, they bandaged her up and took care of her.
A little bruised up. but
Yeah,
that's
she's got a
all.
big bruise.
Ever looking for attention.
I know, huh?
Come on.
I think you're right.
All right, did you have any questions for us?
No, we do not.
No?
Assuming that we vote that it has no significance, probably tomorrow I'll be at the building inspectors and give the sign off.
Okay.
And then you guys can proceed with your next leg of the journey.
Okay,
as it-
great.
As it were.
Yes.
Great,
All
thank
right,
you.
questions?
I was just going to make a motion that we find the structure at 100 Mason Road to have,
Well, I gotta close the public hearing first.
okay.
I am closing the public hearing.
At 8:42,
42.
6:42?
6:42.
It's tough with this group. We're never sure what time zone we're in. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm accepting a motion.
I move that we find 100 Mason Road to have no architectural or other significance, and that the demolition be allowed to proceed.
Okay,
I second the motion.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you
Have
very
at it.
much. Thank you.
Make
Thank you very
them
much,
a-
folks.
This was
Appreciate
easy.
your time.
Make
Yes.
them a nice little nest.
I know.
You will. Well, I'm
You can have
sure,
it.
sure we'll be seeing you again.
You can have it done before they get back?
Yeah.
I think that's what they're hoping.
Yes, I know, I'm sure they would love that.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah. Are they making you in charge of the whole deal?
No. That's gotta be somebody else. I'll be working on it though, for sure, so.
Well, all right. Good to know.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Have a
Thank you very
great
much
day.
for your time.
Have a
Thank
nice
you.
evening.
you too.
All right. We got a few things. Let's do Village Cemetery and get that off our chest. Let's get it off my chest. Have you seen it?
No, but my wife drives through there quite frequently, so she kept me
You
apprised
didn't
of
see
it.
the pictures? Okay.
No.
They were horrific. They were on Facebook, right?
Yeah, probably.
Did you see them?
I saw the ones that Ducharme sent.
Yeah. Yeah.
He sent them to me.
All right, here's what happened. I have prepared notes, since so much went on about this. I have notes for the file. They're my personal recollections of what happened, so you can sense what's been going on. I was driving to the town common area on the Dudley Oxford Road on Sunday afternoon, February 23. As I came around the Carter house, I thought a tornado had touched down. That's what those trees looked like. They were devoid of any leaves, any limbs. They were just sticks, big, ugly
seen 'em.
looking things. So I had to stop my car to take in the horror. I mean, it was a horror, it was a gut punch of the massacred trees which once provided a lovely canopy of leaves over one of Dudley's more picturesque cemeteries. That view has always been inspiring. You start from the Carter house and you're going there and you kind of get enveloped and it takes you along. It's always been a wonderful, wonderful spot. I was told that the town had paid to have the trees cut down. The road had been closed for the work being done, and it was done by an outside company. I went to the town hall on Monday, the next morning, and was confronted by a member of the custodial ground staff who said, "We decided to take the trees because the walls were historic." I asked him to leave my presence. I said it a little more colorful than that. And I went to see the town administrator, and he said he had not seen the cemetery, and that the trees were on a list to limb. And for limbing. Well, there weren't any limbs left. These were just killed. They would not survive coming back from the severity of what they have done. I emailed the chairman of the Board of Selectmen. He knew there was a problem because he had had a conversation with the administrator. That night, Monday evening, the Board of Selectmen met. I did not attend because I was too emotionally upset, but I did ask for an executive session to be scheduled to get a full accounting of what occurred. My understanding was an executive session was required if we were going to discuss potential employee misconduct or anything bordering on that. That was what happened a few years ago when we had not a dissimilar interesting problem with the Ramshorn Road Cemetery. They had said then, no, you can't do this in the public, you have to do this in an executive session. Now I'm being told no, and they won't hold an executive session for this. Okay. Mr. Braniff attended and lambasted the board for their involvement. Lambasted is a good word. It was colorful. It was impactful. it was necessary, and then Mike left, which was probably a good idea. Anyway, it was obvious for those watching at home, like I was, that some of the selectmen did not know what was happening. They did not know why the usual congenial Mr. Braniff was yelling at them. They were blindsided, as far as I could say. You know, they should have been told that this was coming. They did, after the meeting, see on Facebook what had happened. They saw the trees, the pictures of the trees, and they were appalled.
Yeah.
The Black Tavern Society met on Saturday, the 28th, and voted to send a letter to the Board of Selectmen asking for a public hearing. During the next 2 weeks, I talked to many residents and received emails about the trees. The level of outrage was strong. I said the Historic Commission was expecting an executive session to get details, and a public accounting was certainly warranted. In the meantime, I contacted the consultant we have used for over a decade in planning the district to work with us to define a path forward for trees and other plantings to get the cemetery ready for our June celebration. He agreed to assist along with his wife, a master gardener, and I further asked Paul and Bisha Wheelock, Bisha, a former commissioner on our commission, and also a master gardener, and both of them of the Dudley Conservation Land Trust, asked them to participate, and they agreed. That group will meet in a few days. I was informed on Friday, March 6th, that an executive session was not appropriate, and on Monday, I learned that the highway superintendent would report on this during the selectmen's meeting that night. The agenda for the meeting, which I had looked online, said nothing about this. It was not on the agenda. I was not invited to participate in any type of discussion and chose not to attend until our commission had met. God knows what I would have said. I did watch the televised meeting. The chair of the board indicated that they make policy decisions and did not oversee day-to-day operations. I am not sure if he meant the Board of Selectmen or the Cemetery Commission, and they are both. Either way, he was absolving them of any participation in the action. The town administrator said he would take responsibility even though he knew little about the action. So, as part of the town administrator's report, the highway superintendent came forward and claimed that the trees were a danger, and he decided they needed to be removed. After questioning by one selectman, he said he consulted with his workers on the decision. After questioning by one selectman, he said he consulted with his workers on the decision. When questioned about other remedies available, i.e. cutting roots near the wall that he said was being forced, he said he did not consider any. He is the tree warden. It's his call. The board went willingly along with this logic. No proof of danger was presented. No evaluation by an expert was performed. Yet these workers were able to use costly equipment to remove healthy trees in a historic district. No call was made to get information on the historic issues involved. These workers said they knew the walls were more historic than the trees. If a stranger had cut down these trees, there would be repercussions. This is an official scenic road. Trees and walls are protected. But who's doing that? As I walked the area, I did not see any imminent danger caused by the roots. The walls need some attention due to age and settling, but otherwise are fine. The cemetery now has not one living plant within its fencing. Over the years, all the ornamental plantings have been removed. All the better to keep the grass mowed. Yet many headstones are broken or in danger of falling over, and it has the appearance to visitors to be even more unkempt now that the trees are not casting shadows. This is the scene we want to present to the world. This is a National Register cemetery. Shame on us. It's an embarrassment to the town. So, weigh in. Wade in. How do we want to proceed?
Is there a remedy?
Pardon?
Is there a remedy? Is there
There-
a path? I don't know. I mean,
Well, there are a couple of paths.
the trees are down.
Yes.
They can't be put back up.
Not those.
Nope.
Not of that size.
No.
It's obvious the selectmen just want this to go away,
Oh, yeah.
but
No, I guess.
we'd be remiss in our duties if we just rolled over and played dead.
I
on
guess
this one.
my question isn't, is there something we can do with the selectmen / cemetery commissioners? My question is there something we can do through the State Historical Commission?
The state
If it's
is,
a historic road, scenic road, and those trees should have been protected and weren't, can the Mass Historic Commission or the federal government force a remedy? That's my question.
I don't know. They would send a strongly worded letter, and maybe that would be it. And I'm not looking to go to that point. It has to be dealt closer in. I would like to see us meet with the cemetery commissioners. Not go to a normally scheduled selectmen's meeting, which has a whole different agenda. I want a private meeting. Well, it wouldn't be private, it'd be public, but a specific meeting just for us and the commissioners themselves. And talk about this particular problem right here and going forward, how that cemetery is going to be rehabilitated. Now, the consultant coming in will work with us to talk about plantings we can get in there before the June event that will somehow soften edges. So reasonably mature trees and shrubs could be in the ground by June. That's not cheap, but I don't care what the cost is. They didn't care what the cost was to remove that stuff. They didn't care about any of that. They made decisions without asking, without even acknowledging their level of stupidity, that they didn't know stuff, that they should have asked. And we were here before, 5 years ago, when we had that mess on Ram's Horn? And it's the same thing. The decisions were made by workers.
No
Workers.
oversight from the cemetery commission.
No.
But how, what bothers me is that the state, you can call the state forester, they'll come down and evaluate the trees.
Exactly.
Why wasn't that done?
Don't know.
And moving forward,
Why didn't they pick a phone up and say, Ed, I'd like to talk about these trees and the wall and what we should do here? They didn't call any of us.
No, but in the first place, if the tree is definitely, okay, it's a danger. How is it a danger? You need someone with some education. Hey, I've been cutting trees for 40 years. That doesn't mean I can tell you everything about that tree, or its condition, or what's gonna happen to it, or, you know? I mean,
My guess is they just did not want these trees around because the leaves drop and they have to be cleaned up. Just like they didn't want anything else in that cemetery anytime it was going to disturb them. They like to roll in there and mow over everything. It's been a problem for years, and it hasn't been addressed, and it's going to need to be addressed. I urge everybody to go up there and look at this thing. See it now while you can see the stumps, the width of them. And you can see where one is close to a wall. And I will say that Selectman Joseph said, why couldn't you cut it back? Cut the roots back on that side. That wasn't even considered.
if you do that, if you remove the roots on one side of a tree, what happens is if you get wind from that direction, it becomes susceptible. Because now you've got a hinge. You don't have a mounting anymore, but you have a hinge where it'll pivot, so then it would have dragged the wall up.
I don't
Well,
see, yeah, and I didn't see where it was impinging the wall necessarily.
Well, if you notice at the bottom of trees, I'm just speaking to
Right.
out of my knowledge. Tree comes down and usually have that.
Spread hump, yep.
Right. Now that could be affecting a wall, or, you know, I haven't been there to look at it, so.
Yep.
But it could be something
And-
happening under.
And we have the ability to accommodate the tree by taking pieces of the wall out. Now, there's a solution.
There were all kinds of alternatives if it was evaluated by somebody with the creds. This isn't the first time anything like this has ever happened. But this was a hatchet job, so we wouldn't have to rake the leaves. I'm firmly convinced of that.
I just want to point out that our June celebration is in 15 weeks.
Yes.
We don't have months to dicker over this. If anything is going to be put in there, April, May latest, or there'll be nothing.
Correct. And one of my thoughts of that celebration is we have interpreters
Yeah.
in the graveyard. We have a costume Mrs. Bemis talking about her diaries. I've had a call from Maurice Healy. He'd like to bring a few guys up, set up near where the Civil War guys buried. Those kinds of things where we would make that cemetery interesting and kind of come alive. Kind of going to be a big barren thing at this point, so I mean, it's going to have to happen that way, but I'm not happy about that. But I'm hoping that we might be able to get some kind of flowering, or hydrangeas, whatever, of a size that are ready to bloom, that will not be an obvious, oh, they've cut this all down. Because there's nothing in there. There's not a small holly bush or anything. Everything's been removed.
All the plantings, all the individual gravestone plantings were removed, so they wouldn't have to cut around them,
Right.
probably. When these trees were removed, they were beautiful trees. They were very scenic trees, but what they did was they hid the fact that that graveyard is in such terrible shape. Now, it looks like Pompeii.
Oh, it's a blackout, folks. Are we not moving fast enough? There we go. Good thing we weren't in the John. We're back.
What did you do, Ted?
It's on a timer.
Oh,
We've never been here this long, I
Oh.
guess. Where were we? We're too old to lose that train of thought. We're lucky to know what room we're in.
You know, they're gonna have to do something with that graveyard too. You just.
There are stones that
It's
need to be
abysmal to
repaired.
leave it like it is.
Yeah.
Remember when we told Peter Jankowski we wanted a tour? And we went up there and the gravestones that had fallen over, they just laid them down and says, there, it's all fixed.
Yeah. Well, they can mow over them. That was their
Yeah.
delight. It's, it needs attention. Cemetery commissioners need to have their eyes on this, and I don't think they do.
No, they don't.
I don't know when,
They delegate everything to the poor clerk.
Yeah,
And she does everything and they take care of this. And take care of that, do this and do that.
so we need to have that meeting. We need to sit down with them and say, how are we going forward here? I think part of the solution is contracting out the care of that cemetery, not
Won't fly.
leaving it to the town.
Won't fly.
Weren't they doing that at Corbin at one time?
It can be done,
They can't.
but we need to go and suggest remedies. I'm not getting enough sleep right now over this. I can't imagine going forward it's gonna help me to know that it's gonna stay the same. I thought things would have improved years ago when we went through the same kind of who makes a decision scenario, but it obviously didn't have any long-term impact. And what comes after that? What's the next problem we're gonna have? If you can't say, this is what got me. Well, we thought that walls were more historic than the trees. They use the word historic without thinking there's somebody we can ask. Why the hell are we here? Why do we go through this? Why do we just spend a decade getting this district in, only to be at the mercy of the least knowledgeable person in the mix? And I gotta tell you, I'm not feeling the love. I'm not hearing, oh yeah, we wanna have an open meeting. I'm not hearing it. I think they thought last night's deal was it. We've done it. We've explained it to everybody. They drank the Kool-Aid and they all went home. I'm not putting up with that.
We pounded our head against a stone wall for 10 years trying to get that district through, and that's what it took. It went back to 1985, we've been being shot down in Boston. It came in on December 2nd or 3rd. We've had it for 2 months and some weeks, and then these fools cut the heart out of the northern end of the district for completely spacious reasons.
Yes.
Mind-boggling demonstration of harebrained mendacity. And everybody's happy with it.
No.
Everybody over here in the corner office is happy with it. The selectmen, the cemetery commission, it's the bee's knees, it's really great.
Which brings us back to what I said earlier. If there's no remedy there, you have to find it somewhere else.
Well, and we may have to do that.
If this was Shrewsbury, everybody over there and everybody down the road would be sending in their resumes. We certainly deserve better than this. The people that came before us and the people that came after us will have deserved better than this.
Agreed.
All right, I'm going to ask for a joint meeting. And in the meantime, I'm proceeding with the consultant.
And our local folks that'll help us on this. And we're gonna have to rush as fast as we can to define what we're gonna get and where we're gonna get it from and who's gonna pay for it. Just one more added expense.
I got to tell you, I got a couple of emails, and taxes were high up on that agenda for these people. This is our tax money spent to do this. We're doing this to ourselves, and we're paying for it. That was the gist of it. So they're waiting, these people want to see how much.
We sent the email that we received from Mr. Zajac, the owner of the Carter House. Mr. Zajac is in high dudgeon. He sent us an email, me an email that I shared with the board and the selectmen, saying how outraged he is at this devastation of the property next to his building after he's spent thousands upon thousands of dollars rehabbing the Carter House. And he said now he's got something that looks like a horror movie next to his building.
Anything else I need in the letter besides asking to meet? I mean, obviously, they've ignored my other requests for a public hearing. I guess I can demand that they appear at one of our meetings.
Black Tavern has requested something.
Public hearing.
Do we want to tack on to it? As opposed to asking for a separate one just for us?
No, it could be larger. But if...
My point is that...
Well, there could be a meeting of the two commissions. The Cemetery Commission
Yes,
and the Historical Commission.
that's
To
true.
say, we're the town bodies,
Mhm.
what are we gonna do about this?
Well, my thought is that if the Historical Commission, the Land Trust, the Black Tavern, the Grange, I don't know, if a larger group of people request the meeting, it makes it harder to ignore the request.
Yeah. But that would be a public hearing, just a big
They're
public.
both going to be
open.
public hearings.
Yeah.
In the sense that if somebody wants to come, they can. I mean, technically, I suppose it would be a meeting between us and the selectmen. But I still think that if you had more vested interests in this town, all asking for that meeting,
Mhm.
then it makes it harder for the town
But if-
to refuse. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
If all of these entities want to attend, it's just going to make it just that much harder.
You might muddle the waters, is what I think Michael's trying to say, if I can it. Maybe we should try a one-on-one first, and then, if we fail there, then expand it, as he said.
okay.
No, one other thing to consider too, is you got a 15-week deadline.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask
Well,
for a
I'm not
meeting this
waiting
month
for
and you
that
don't get it.
meeting to get approval to do plantings.
Understand that.
Right.
But unless you have this meeting there's probably no way they're gonna pay for it.
No, wait, what?
The town will pay for it.
Oh, they'll pay. They'll pay.
15 weeks.
They know they have to fix this.
Sure they do. And I'm betting, shouldn't say this, I suppose, but I'm.
They dug up
I'm
the
betting
money
that-
to cut them down. They're gonna have to dig up the money.
I'm betting that the longer they can delay that, the happier they'll be. There has to be something to push them to do it within that 15 weeks.
Oh, no, no, no. It's gotta be, if we have an agreement on our consulting group within a week, we would be meeting next Monday. If we can come up to an agreement on how to proceed, and that's gonna take an evaluation of what's there, a selection of plantings, going out to find the plantings, whether that's at Weston Nursery or wherever, and how much those plantings are gonna cost. And it's all time. It's all time that I don't have to spare at this point, because there are so many other things going on. Time I never should have to deal with, or any of us, but now it's on our doorstep.
Yeah.
But we gotta get it done. It has to look decent for June. Otherwise, we're going to drape the cemetery in black. And that's always an option. And make a big statement. What's annoying is I was looking at the Macris thing, the Mass Historic website for the village cemetery. And they have some really good layouts of what's up there, wrought iron and everything, and then you have these trees, and they soften all those images. Now if you go take a picture up there, it's just, might as well be on the prairie somewhere, it's just nothing to help, because everything else looks jarringly broken and sterile. So what, I'll try and get a meeting. In the meantime, I'm gonna meet with the other people and keep moving, because that train has to keep chugging.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the plantings, are they gonna be inside the cemetery or along the wall, or how? Have you any kind of?
I'd see
plan?
plantings within the cemetery itself.
Okay.
You have to somehow dress up that cemetery. All of the hydrangeas they had were ripped out years ago. There's a big brouhaha about that. It's just, they've got to come to the realization that there can be living things within a dead zone to make it enticing, enjoyable for people to come into. We were lucky to have the trees. It really covered a multitude of sins there. It gave you a sense of shade. You have no shade there now.
You'll get none either, because you're not gonna get anything big enough in time.
Oh, we're never gonna get anything that tall.
It's never gonna be replaced in our lifetime, forget that, but for somebody
There's-
else.
There's some that grow fast enough, but yeah, I agree.
But they still, some
But we don't
some
want
take 10
fast
years.
growers if they're fast rooters and all
Yeah.
of that kind of stuff. So there are things to think through, what gets tucked where. So we do it in stages. You put in some immediate things that allow it to look at least like there's greenery, and then you have some medium range stuff that's coming in, and then there are a couple of long range trees maybe in there somewhere along the line. And what those are, I don't know.
This is for our consultants to really
Yeah.
hash out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the plan. All right, I'll keep you tuned on where that goes, and I'll figure out inviting the cemetery commissioners here. to meet with
Do we
us.
want to have a special meeting for this?
Yeah, I don't want them coming to one of our normal meetings,
Right.
no.
Besides, that's a month, that's 4 weeks away or more.
Yeah.
That's our next normal meeting is gonna leave a big gap. We gotta talk to them.
Yeah, that's why we want a special meeting.
Yeah, we don't wanna let it go that long.
Yeah, we don't want to go a month.
No.
Okay. All right. Congregational church. There's a planning board meeting coming up to discuss changes in the tower. Anybody wish to attend that?
The equipment in the tower,
Yeah.
AT&T equipment.
Yeah. The increase, what are they going up, Dave? 3 feet, 4 feet?
I think it's gonna double that,
Double what's there.
yes.
So that could be
Oh, 5, maybe 6.
5 more feet.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how much it's going up, but it is gonna be significant. You are
Now, is
gonna
this the
notice it.
antenna, or is this the whole
Yes,
structure?
that
Okay.
cylinder.
That central
Okay.
core that
Okay.
sticks up.
That cylinder, that orangey cylinder, or red cylinder, whatever you wanna call
Okay.
it, brick colored, is gonna go up probably to
We should-
double the height that's there.
We should try and explore the possibility of maybe, would that call for new wiring
No,
from the outside?
no, the wiring goes over the roof. You will not see wiring.
Oh, I'm worried, what I'd like to see happen is new wiring coming from that pole in the back in a trench into the church, and we can eliminate that stuff that goes over the town property. But,
That's not part of it. There's a power station behind the church. That's owned by AT&T. It's in a cage, about 8 foot on a side.
Is the other
It's against
phone
the back
wire?
wall.
Hmm?
Is the other phone wire that's going over the,
Whatever those wires are, they're not part
It
of.
was my understanding they were cable TV, telephone and
Yeah,
AT&T wires.
the AT&T wires are coming in from the back. They go up the back wall and along the roof and into the tower from the back side. You do not see any AT&T wires anywhere but in the back.
I'd like to confirm that.
well, let's find out
Go
what
to
the
that
wires
church.
are that are going
Yeah.
across.
Those have been there long before AT&T.
I understand that, but if they're not serving that, what are they serving?
Probably the office phones, which there are 2. Probably, I don't know if it's Comcast.
We tried this in,
Spectrum or-
Yeah.
This
Spectrum,
isn't
it would
something
be.
that could come from the back now? I don't know.
No.
You'd have to take that
You'd
up
have to
with
go from the
them.
pole, I would think.
Pardon?
You'd have to go from the pole. The back part, that's just a repeater up there, isn't it?
we tried this in
I thought-
2009 when we were having the
Fine.
100th year anniversary
Yeah, I
of
know
the
you wanna
War
get-
Memorial. The telephone company wouldn't touch it with a stick because there wasn't a clear title. They figured out there wasn't a clear title,
To
and they
what?
danced away for the property.
For the common.
It's
It wasn't-
towns.
that- Yeah, but it wasn't resolved until,
I know.
It wasn't resolved until years after that.
The cables are going from a telephone pole to the church. They don't touch the common. There's no reason to.
It's
have-
called an aerial trespass, David.
But that aerial trespass has been happening since probably the
The
1920s.
church, no, the church okayed it for the equipment when actually, as it turned out, they didn't have clear title for it, but nobody knew that
My,
then.
my point is that all the stuff that relates to AT&T and that tower has nothing to do with those lines.
Well, thanks, David, you've been a big help.
Well,
No,
what can I
well,
say?
it may be separate.
you were talking about 2 different things. We're
Right.
talking
Go
about
look, go look in the
lines
back
going
of the
over-
church, you'll see what I mean. There's a whole big transformer and everything else back there. The wires come into it.
The
from
telephone
back-
company told us in 2009, they would move all that stuff, but they would, if it turned out that the church owned it, they would charge the church $200,000 to move the wires.
That's something else.
Yeah, that is something else. We didn't want to go there, but I'm looking for some way to get those wires moved. I thought this might have been it.
I don't think so,
I
Mike.
don't think so. I don't think those have anything to do with that tower.
I think that's gonna be a separate battle.
Yeah.
I think we've got enough on our plate.
All right, well, there's a meeting on this anyway. I don't know if anybody wants to attend to see on the height issue.
When is the meeting?
I don't know. Shortly. Let me see what I've got. I've got 2 meetings here. I don't think I have that paperwork in front of me. I thought we got it in our mailbox. You remember seeing it down there?
No, but I wasn't looking for it.
Check on the way out. Let's see if it's in there. Sometimes it comes and we just leave it.
Yeah, I know. Leave a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah. Well, it's like
It's
a
convenient.
file.
Are we gonna ask for the whole cemetery commission, the whole wonderful cemetery commission to come see us?
Whoever appears. And we'll have to come up with a date that works for us. But we can do that on email. Set that up in in a week or 2. Because we don't want this to linger. We have things cooking. The other thing we've got, Stevens Mill. If you watch the selectmen's meeting, Jonathan Ruda went over the potential for a new buyer for the mill. The mill is in tough shape, as we know. This may be the last opportunity for somebody to actually go in there and save it. So there are 2 meetings scheduled. The first one on the 23rd. The commission, our commission's going to be invited to attend. The developer, Camden Partners, will be here to discuss the project, along with the developer. Several state officials will be attending. I do not have a time for that, but the next one's at 7. I'm wondering if that's also at 7 o'clock, so I'll have to get the time for that one. The second meeting is on March 30th. It's going to be a special town meeting, and it'll be held here in the town hall to vote to petition the general court to adopt a special act to allow the town to enter into a TIF agreement related to the Stevens Mill project. That meeting is 7 p.m. So here's the deal. The 30th meeting, special town meeting, is important. They need to have a quorum because they need to get, assuming, a positive vote so that this can go to the state to clear whatever hurdles are remaining. The difficulty has been that the original plans for the mill have been amended a couple of times as new developers came through. But there was always this underlying caveat that they would have to assign so many units to low income. I may be simplifying that a little bit, but for our brains, that's enough. The idea here is to remove that language and to allow that project to go ahead at full market rates. And to do that, we need to get the legislature, the state legislature to approve.
You know, there are subsidies that can be applied for low-income people. The state pays to these property owners. I don't know anything about them, but I know Sarah Werber told me about them last month or a month or 2 ago.
Well, that I don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is the 30th, if we can get a majority to vote it to go to the State House, that's the next hurdle we go over. Now, on the 23rd meeting, maybe that's a chance to chat and ask about the other stuff, all of it.
You know, I know absolutely nothing about this, but
Yeah.
Sarah Werman told me that stuff is out there.
Yeah.
If it's practical or not, who
So
knows?
put it on your calendars. Drag your friends and neighbors, because getting 52 people isn't as easy as you would think.
Well, the main thing is if they don't do something with that building.
It's gone.
Right.
It can't continue.
And then,
You said that-
once it does go down, it's a big mess for the town to clean up,
Huge,
you know?
huge.
It's also a landmark.
Unless what?
It's
It is
also
a
a
landmark.
landmark. It's not
Yeah.
a,
Well, it's gonna be a landmark rubble. Doesn't matter if it's a landmark,
But
it's gonna cost you.
Yeah, I
Well,
can't
yeah.
imagine the cost, and then you've got the environmental hazards, I mean, it's just
When-
snowballs.
When Levin, the first guy that came on the scene that was gonna solve this, when he decided he couldn't go forward because the town wasn't working with him on water, another generation of, don't start me. He looked to do a demo, but the cost to demolish it was more than the cost to do the build-out. It was just insane. He
Mhm.
said, I can't take it down and sell this stuff. No one wants this.
yeah.
So, we don't want it, and we'll be back right where we are, like
Right.
with the dye house. What do you do with all this rubble? How much does it cost to get it out?
If the town ever took it over, it would be a catastrophe.
Yeah.
But if the
We-
developer
The
deserves.
last thing the town needs is that property.
Right.
And the current owner can't float along as he's been doing. It's just, time's running out. So, please, folks, if you're home, on your calendar, March 30th, 7 PM, here at the Town Hall, special town meeting. We need you to come and support this effort. It's crucial. Okay, what else have I got? District signage. I did meet with Ruth Perry, Graphics Unlimited. She's putting together proposed signs for entering and exiting the district, and one at the four corners that'll just indicate this is the district. I'll see what she can come up with. Whatever she quotes, I'm then putting in a Melza grant. So I've got 2 weeks to get that done. And all this other stuff.
Mhm.
In your spare time.
Yeah. I mean, this stuff's keeping me up at night. I can't imagine what that's gonna do. Anyway. And then we would know on that early May. And so I've alerted her if that's a go, be prepared to install by mid-June. So I would like the signs in place prior to the Strawberry Festival. That's on Thursday. Then on Saturday, we would have a town walk along the district. And we'll ask the church and the Grange and the tavern to participate and be open and have interpreters in there to explain things about those buildings that people have no clue about. Station other people along the walk, and then do a number of people in the cemetery, bringing that up to life, hopefully near some greenery. If not, where all the black draping is.
Did you look at those stones?
I did go look at those stones.
Cool. Are they in bad shape?
No, they look good. Moving them is going to be an issue. We have
Well,
owners of property along Old Southbridge Road, is that what
Yeah.
that's officially called?
Yeah,
Concerned about stones that were part of fencing. Would have been metal to metal
Yeah.
across them, or there are 4 of them, plus that pointed,
yeah, that I think is a property marker, but
is that what that is?
I think it is, I'm not positive.
So it just needs to be reset,
Yeah,
because it's,
it got knocked down by probably a plow girl.
yeah.
But those other stones, judging by how close the bottom hole is to the ground on a couple of them, that could be
They're
3
what?
feet, they could be 3 feet down,
Right.
How many?
4 of them,
How deep down?
3 feet.
3 feet?
They might be, I mean,
So
normally
getting them.
normally that bottom hole
It's-
would be a foot above the ground.
It's strapping and
No,
pulling?
Like square holes in the.
no, they're round holes.
Hmm.
There's a pin through them. The pin is about 9 inches long. One end of it is bent up like this to hold the railing or whatever's in front of a post in. The back is keyed. I've never seen anything like it.
Right, but getting them out of the ground,
You dig around them, go down 1.5 feet, and take a tractor with a bucket and pull straight up. If the ground is not frozen, they should come right out. They're big.
we couldn't do it this weekend, it was too late.
Well, I understand.
To do. But the idea is they've offered them to the tavern,
Yeah.
and they would be put on the south side where there's a steep drop off.
The 12-foot boundary is,
Yeah, 2 of them belong to Mark and Mary Jane Sullivan, and 2 of them belong to Aaron Mulcahy. And Aaron Mulcahy, I've been trying to deal with this while I'm recovering from this, but Aaron Mulcahy was told by the tree warden that the damaged tree in the front of her property has to come down. One of the stones is less than 3 feet from that tree. She's concerned, limb drop, whatever, damaging the stone. So the ideal situation was get the stones
Is
out.
that tree owned by her, or is that a town tree?
I don't know, but if it falls, it could fall on the stones. It could also fall on her house. It's close.
Oh, they want the large tree down.
The one that has a section about
That,
8 feet tall, and then there's a piece broken out of it.
okay,
But the other limbs
Yeah.
still go up.
right.
That one. And the first stone is 3 feet west of it. There's another one about 12 feet west of that. There's then that little,
Stand up.
come on, Fred.
Getting
Ted,
annoying.
they're up. It's,
All right, what are we doing now?
Hit it again.
there we go.
There it is.
The
cut that out,
the
Ted.
obelisk
It's not funny.
thing, and it is, it's pointy topped. I think it's, I'm not even sure if it's stone. It might be cement. I'm not positive.
No,
Oh,
what's-
I didn't
what's
I
this
get
wasn't
other-
looking at it much.
What's this other mark, what
They're
is
they're
it?
fence posts.
You said it comes to a point though?
Oh,
No,
the
no, no,
marker,
that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
And we don't know if it's, he's saying whether it's stone or not. or
Could be,
cement.
could be cement.
Because it could be, that was a county road at one time,
Yeah, but it could be.
you know, it could be
I
just a.
didn't look at it very much because I didn't like where I was parking my truck with all the
It's
traffic.
very
around it.
difficult to park up there.
It is.
Yeah.
I was.
You have to go in a
I got as far
driveway.
off as I could, and when I opened my door, it just like flew open because it was leaning downhill.
Yeah.
The stones are 15 inches wide, about 3 inches thick. They're cut, I think, but they're rough cut. I mean, one of them, the top kind of comes in like this. One of them, it does the opposite. They're very attractive to me. I like that kind of stuff. And they're, like I said, the mounts for the fence rails are, I've never seen any quite like that before, where they're actually keyed. Most of the
So
ones
would
I've
they
seen.
have
is-
been wooden fence rails between
Yeah.
them? All right, so Bob would have a project.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would say.
that's all we need.
From what I can see, whatever was in front of them was about 3 inches thick.
Yeah.
and probably 7 or 8 inches wide. They were heavy.
Yeah.
Well, if that field was worked, I know from when we used to plow on the farm, you always end up with your dead furrow against the wall with the fence. So as the years, it builds up. So that's why all your old stone walls
Well,
actually get
they're not-
shorter with time.
They're not in the field.
I thought they were on
They're in
the...
woodlot.
Oh, it's a woodlot.
And there's a foundation behind them.
Yeah, there was a house there.
Yeah. But it's their... Do you know where Ed Mulcahy's house is?
No.
Okay, if you go down Center Road, turn left on Dudley Southbridge,
Yeah.
it's the first house on the left on Dudley Southbridge.
Okay.
On the west corner of her property is the tree that got damaged.
Okay.
The stones start there and work down the hill.
All right, I know the stone store.
Yeah. And nobody sees them. They're like invisible because everybody's panicking about getting up that hill safely and not getting hit.
No wonder you were cautious.
Yeah, but I think they're gorgeous stones.
Yeah. No, I know the stone.
And I know there's others all over the place in Dudley. It's not an uncommon thing. I know there's some down on Mark Mosley's place. And I know there's some on whatever they call it, Route 31,
Yeah, there was,
right after that little pond on the same
that was
side.
Benarski's house at one time.
Yeah.
But-
I don't know what is Aaron Mulcahy, I know it is Benarski's house.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, I know it is. Mary Jane was telling me.
Bridget was quite a person.
And I've gotten it far back as,
It's good when we know everybody from, you know.
Bisco owned it at one time, I guess.
Back in the
oh,
day.
Jesse Bisco.
well, that house. The piece below it, I've got back to 1870.
Yeah.
Who owned it then?
All right, let me move us along here. We're losing our audience. Member concerns?
I have none.
Mike?
Veterans Monument on Town Common.
No new news.
We know all about that.
I did recently read something, and I've made a note to go to the site because they were talking about cleaning
Yeah.
stuff, so I've got to go back. It's on that list of notes at home. Do you have a list of notes like
No.
that?
Oh, I can't even read.
Anything else, David?
Member concerns, I'm concerned about everything.
I know.
We all are. Well, trees.
Pardon?
Trees, concerned about trees, but, or lack of them.
Yeah.
But we were, the only thing I'm missing is financials. We were gonna do that and then stop for the demolition permit.
I did look through in our gift account, and we have a reasonable balance in there. We were essentially still holding money left over from when we used to make signs and do all that other kind of stuff. So I need to get an updated thing, but it could be 14,000. I've got to make sure that they haven't put something in there that was meant to be somewhere else. So I think we need to do a little audit. I understand we have 16+ thousand in the archival restoration account, and we need to get moving on the next wave, which is digitizing some of these things so that people can just
But
go.
all that money is unencumbered. It doesn't
Yes.
come,
No, the money is okay. It's
Yeah.
not about to be lost.
that's why we did it that way, because
Yes.
when we go on the town budget, it's gonna be done every June, you know?
Right. It's not part of a must spend by June 30th. This is.
We had to put
this
up
is
with
not-
that in the early days, and that was
We
a,
worked out butts off for this, and we got some decent gifts, and we're conscientious about how we use them. So I'm not offering up that kind of money. without having a serious reason for it. But it gives us a little bit of assurance. If we don't get mouths of money, we can go there. And I wouldn't have any problem with that because it's stuff we've worked for, so. All right,
One more thing.
no other stuff? Do I have a?
I have one more thing. The tradesman in the common I talked to you about, I
Yeah.
sent you an email.
Yeah, you were missing one.
I have one not coming. He's got a conflict in Potter.
Yeah,
I've talked to another Potter. He's interested.
good.
He will need electricity from the church because his wheel is electric. And his wife is interested in doing a candle making demonstration.
Okay,
I don't have money for an eighth person. We would have to find it.
okay,
I told him no promises, but I would bring it up.
all right,
See if we can, that's all I want to say at this point.
okay.
I've also got one person I have not heard back from. I'll get on his case,
Yep. All right.
so that's
We
that.
got time to make it happen. All right, entertaining a motion,
Motion to accept,
adjourn.
adjourn, okay. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, folks.